What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Big Time Football Talk. So I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to pose the question, is USC a Pac-12 legit title contender and a national title contender? And, so I wanted to just kind of go through the team, and I wanted to give my final take answering that question at the very end. So first things first, USC... Lincoln Riley met with the media at Pac-12 Media Days. He's embracing the high expectations, which I absolutely love. And you go in, you do a lot of tremendous things this offseason, really work the transfer portal. You bring in Caleb Williams, who was his quarterback, starting quarterback, primarily most of the year at Oklahoma. They also had Rattler, but also bring in Mario Williams, who was just a stud last year for Oklahoma as a true freshman. And you bring in Shaden Lee, a linebacker from Alabama, who played some good football back in 2019 when he filled in for Dylan Moses. Bring in Terrell Bynum, a solid receiver out of Washington. Who else did USC bring in? They also brought in Mekhi Blackson, a corner from Colorado, who will be pretty solid. USC losing several guys in the secondary. The linebacker position is a little bit iffy. Hopefully Sean Lee will clear up some issues or answers there. The defensive line was a little bit shaky. Talk about a unit that just didn't get a lot of pressure overall, and do return a couple guys up front there, but they're hoping to get, a lot better pass rush. They also returned, Corey Foreman was the number one recruit in the country last year in 2021. He'll be back. Hopefully you can get him to take the next step on the defensive side of the ball. But Damani Jackson was, a five-star corner that USC brings in this year. And, this could be I'll give you my answer to I think USC is a legit, or USC is the favorite or my pick to win the Pac-12 and a legit, playoff contender. But, this could be an example of, you saw Michigan State with Mel Tucker last year really do it. This could be an example of, one team, with the transfer portal working its magic and flipping a roster in just one season. But, yeah, they, Raleek Brown's another guy they bring in at running back. Travis Dye comes over, a transfer from Oregon, a guy that's played a lot of football, been very productive. This is a team that is just, the roster really has been flipped. I mean, the two quarterbacks that primarily played the most last year, Caden Slovis and Jackson Dart, are no longer there. Both guys. Slovis did a really good job, led him to a Pac-12, title game appearance, 5-1 season in 2020. And then, Jackson Dart came in as a high recruit and played some good football. Well, I guess he played okay, showed flashes of why he was a high recruit. He's got a strong arm, willing to sit in the pocket and make some plays, but, he never really got rolling for Jackson Dart. Yeah, USC, it's on paper, things look pretty bright. The schedule, not overly tough, but there is a couple, Utah and Notre Dame are really just not good matchups for, a number of reasons, like I just stated. USC struggled last year in the trenches. I don't see them this year making that big of a leap in fixing the trenches. The offensive line, actually, I was surprised, was pretty solid when I went back and watched some games. Keontae Ingram was their leading rusher for USC. There's a lot of holes, for him to run, but, they return a guy, Andrew Voorhees, at the guard position, a guy that's very competitive, pretty solid in pass protection, solid against the run. The center does return, and the depth of the receiver is real. You bring in Jordan Addison, a transfer from Pitt, the Belinda Coughliner, maybe, or what was he was? I think he was the leading receiver in the country as far as statistics yardage wise, but yeah. So I mean, legitimate depth at the wide receiver position, and I like some of the receivers they have. Number one, Gary Bryant, 16, Taj Washington. Washington is a very good athlete. He's good at adjusting to the ball. He's got some good short area bursts, can really make things happen after the catch as far as that's concerned. And, you got some depth at the tight end. You saw a few guys that kind of flashed. But, Yeah, the schedule, with them lacking in the trenches, the UCLA game, UCLA, they were just beaten bad last year. Oregon State, they were outclassed in the trenches. The Beavers rushed for 322 yards on them total in that game. The running back Baylor just demolished them. So UCLA, I think this year, even with, now that, I'll say this, with a little bit improvement in the trenches and that our offense able to put up points, I think the UCLA game is a 50-50 game. But I think that the Utah game, I think Utah beats them. And then I think they also lose to Notre Dame. So to answer the question, no, I do not think USC wins the Pac-12 title. I think Utah is the favorite. I think Utah does win it. Utah maybe right up there with best, tight end group in the country. It's they have several good tight ends. Returning Dalton Kincaid, a guy touchdown on my tight end rankings, and they also Cameron Rising just really elevated and brought a spark to that team. Started off poorly, but then just got rolling as Rising got things going, and Whittingham has established itself. They have a winning culture the last few years, so I think Utah wins the Pac-12 conference in 2022. But, I think USC, 50-50 game versus UCLA, and I think they lose to Utah and UCLA. And I think even if they make the Pac-12 title game against Utah, I think it could be like Oregon. I think they would lose again. I think Utah is just, way ahead of them as far as the trenches goes. I think USC maybe has the best other than the offense and defensive line, USC may have the best unit of any team in the league. But, that's just going to be a lot to overcome. In 1 year is not – how much of a difference can you make in the trenches in just 1 year? It's a big question, and, I think they'll answer some of those questions. Obviously, guys like Corey Foreman and Tuli Tuilopo. I'm sorry if I may have butchered his name, but he's a number 49 defensive tackle for USC returns. He'll be, with all due respect, if I don't think I pronounced his last name wrong, but he's a very good football player and will help USC a lot. And they like normal years. They are a very talented team. And I was listening to Bruce Feldman on talking to Colin Cowherd about USC. This is a few months ago. I went back and because I've done my research on USC football. Obviously, I knew a lot about the program, but I wanted to watch some games from last year, anyways. But Feldman says, and like I agreed, this does not look like the normal USC football team in recent years. They just Pete Carroll in that era, this kind of looks like a shell of what Pete Carroll had brought to USC. They were physical at the line of scrimmage, played so hard, very competitive. Every position group was just outstanding under Carroll, and I think Lincoln Riley's going to bring that back, owning the state of or the city of Los Angeles, and let alone the state of California in recruiting, and kind of like the Pete Carroll philosophy, going to go just out of state when he can get a big time talent for USC. But I'll wrap with that question posed for this video. Do I think USC wins the Pac-12 this year? No, I do not. But I think this is a 9-3, 10-2, 10-3, 9-4-ish type of football team that's going to be very competitive, very tough, and you're going to see a big improvement. And you're going to see the Lincoln Riley effect, via the transfer portal and via the skill position that they've really added to this football team. So you're going to see a lot better football team. But no, I would not bet on them to win the Pac-12 title and or make the college football playoff. So I'm going to wrap with that, guys. Thanks so much for the continued support of the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Till next time, peace.